The topic today is Partnership for Sustainable Agriculture Technology Delivery. It's a topic that is very close to the hearts of many of you, I know, because we spent some 30, 40 years, and some of them are being recognized. I would like just to mention that yesterday, the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture won the Africa Food Prize in recognition of what they've done. So congratulations to IITA and all the people who have participated in building that effort. I have a difficult task this morning is to give you a lot of information about a program that you heard about a lot in the past 2 years. And I came late into this effort, so I'll be talking to you from the point of view of somebody who is trying to operationalize this initiative. It's a long history. I think the TAT program has a very long history, maybe 10 years, but I will not go into the genesis of those 10 years. I'm going to start the story. I'm going to start the story on the 1st of October, 2015. If you recall, somebody that we know very well, Dr. Akinwumi Ayodeji Adesina, on the 1st of October 2015, he became the 8th president of the African Development Bank. And he joined the bank with 5 goals that we know very well. They come to be known as the high fives. But knowing Akin, as we friendly refer to him, we know that the second goal was very, very close to his heart. In fact, within 2 months of him taking office, he mobilized the help of President Macky Sall of Senegal, the help of Dr. Agnes Kalibata, the president of the African Development Bank, the help of the Prime Minister of DRC at that time, Augustin Matata Ponyo, the Commissioner for Agriculture of the African Union, and all of them and the whole agricultural community in Africa came together in Dakar. We had over 600 delegates who came together. What was unique about that meeting, it was, I think it was the first time that you have so many ministers of agriculture sitting next to the Minister of Finance, sitting next to the central bank governors to discuss about agriculture. And out of that discussion came a strategy on how to develop and transform the agriculture sector in what became the Feed Africa initiative that we have heard about very much. Coming from that meeting, there was a concerted effort, and there are many of you who participated in that effort. Maybe I'll single out 2 people. Dr. Chiji Ojukwu, who was then Director of Agriculture at the African Development Bank, but also Dr. Martin Fregene, who took over from him. They mobilized many institutions, many experts, many people to formulate a strategy on how to go about the Feed Africa initiative. And in June 2016, the strategy was actually published by the African Development Bank. And out of this strategy, there were 7 areas that were found as being critical to really achieve the African transformation. They were called the enablers. There are 7 of them. They said, first, productivity had to increase. And having increased productivity, you need to add value to that productivity. And then the infrastructure is a problem. And we heard in some of the meeting today that development ends where the road ends. Agricultural finance, and actually the bank, recognizing that this was important, decided to create a second department for agriculture, focusing on agricultural finance and rural development. And the director of that department is here, Ms. Atsuko Toda. And improving the agribusiness environment, creating inclusivity, sustainability, and coordinating all these efforts. And within each of these categories, the bank developed a number of programs. So TAT is actually a program designed to address the first enabler of increasing productivity. Going around, I found some misconception, thinking the whole effort of Feed Africa is only TAT. But the bank has many initiatives going side by side with TAT. For instance, increasing the participation of youth in agribusiness in a program known as Enable Youth. And the coordinator or the task manager of that program is here. But other increasing access to finance for women, there are many, many programs, and TAT is not the only one in the Feed Africa initiative. I thought I'll make that point very importantly. And the main objective of TAT is to take proven agriculture technology to very, very large scale. And there are a number of initiatives that are considered to be the success indicators. The TAT will provide the necessary framework to contribute to reaching rice self-sufficiency, intensifying cassava production and utilization. There are 8 big pillars that this program will be targeting. And what is achieved and the goals that we are pursuing are aligned with the Malabo Declaration of contributing to ending extreme poverty, eliminating hunger and malnutrition, making Africa a net exporter of agricultural commodity, something that I like to call Make Africa Great Again, because we used to export a lot of agricultural products, and then moving to the top of key agricultural value chain. So like every program, TAT has components, and the 3 main components of TAT are enabling environment, promoting an enabling environment for technology adoption, establishing a regional technology delivery infrastructure to accelerate the delivery, raising agricultural productivity by deploying this proven technology. And of course, you have to have a program management. So to manage all that, of course, you have a structure. An executing agency was approved, and this is the IITA. But IITA was not going to be alone. Other institutions that have technology to deploy were invited to be part of this initiative, but the bank decided to sign the program with one institution that will represent the others. And what you see in this slide is a bit complex because it is a complex project. It is focusing on value chain. Let me get a better pointer. It is focusing on value chain, but it is not enough to, and the approach being taken is to look at all the factors, all the stages of the value chain to ensure that if at the production level, there is increased production, but you have all the stages that have been organized in order to take advantage of this increased productivity. It means you will need to line up support services. You need government and national institutions like research, extension, access to finance have to be aligned. You need to make sure that the private sector is intervening to provide the inputs, to buy the excess production. You have to make sure that the producers are organized to better take advantage of this production. So this research institute that you see indicated at the bottom here have been given responsibility to coordinate a compact of institutions that will help them deliver the technology that they have developed, they have proven over the years as being a powerful technology. And that will happen in one particular location in a given site, which we'll call a transformation site. Now, these happen in most projects, but this one has an innovation, I believe. In order to make sure that there is objectivity in this program that is not a center that has a technology that is pushing its own technology. There was a mechanism that was established that is called the Clearinghouse Mechanism. And what the Clearinghouse does is to vet the technology that are presented for large-scale dissemination. And having vetted this technology, it has to approve the plans that have been put in place to deploy this technology, as well as put in place the monitoring and evaluation to ensure that the implementing agencies are doing what they are supposed to do. And it was found that there was need to focus on some other areas that cross a project implementation that ensure that there is efficacy. And we call that the enabler compact, looking at things like soil fertility management, water management, building the capacity, and specialized institutions like FARA that have the established capacity to build the strengths in national program has been given leadership to take over this particular area. So the compacts for delivering technologies have clear role. They need to establish agreements between all the partners that are necessary to supply this technology. And they support countries in preparing outreach campaign to ensure that the technology will be delivered. And a mechanism that has been put in place in this program is to establish what is known as the regional technology delivery infrastructure. This infrastructure is actually a network of all the partner institutions that are required to be able to take a technology to large-scale adoption. And this infrastructure and network of institutions that are in place can serve any program that is needing the expertise of deploying proven agricultural technologies. And that has been given as a responsibility for coordination to CG Center and specialized institutions as far as, like I mentioned, but the African Agriculture Technology Foundation is one of them, or the International Fertilizer Development Corporation is another one. The Clearinghouse has been given clear role that I've mentioned to assessing and validating the technology, reviewing proposal for deployment of technology, carrying out monitoring and evaluation, and guiding the scaling up of these activities. And the Clearinghouse is overseen by a program steering committee, and this steering committee is made up of African Minister of Agriculture, private sector, farmer organization, development expert. I'll mention just 2 people who are in this committee. It's a committee of 11 people. It is chaired by the Minister of Agriculture of the Republic of Benin, who is not a politician, he's actually an agricultural specialist, who proposed to candidate Talon a program for reforming the agriculture sector. And when the candidate won and became the president of Benin, he invited him to become minister and implement the reform that he had proposed to him as a candidate. We also have people from the private sector. I mentioned Dr. Mary Mgonja, who at one time was country manager for AGRA, but went back into private work as a seed company owner. And this year, she was selected as the Entrepreneur of the Year for the Republic of Tanzania. Another person I would mention is a young lady who used to be a cardiology nurse in Australia, came back to Zambia, and saw her father farm that was looking very poor, miserable, and decided that she had to do something about it. And she has become a very successful farmer, not only on her farm, but she has become also an activist in the Farmer Association of Zambia for encouraging the young people to get involved into agriculture. So it's a committee that is full of professionals who look at the recommendation coming from the clearinghouse very critically, and they are not afraid of rejecting recommendation when they think that this will not make impact when implemented. So what we have now in the ground as the TAT program, we have 9 commodity compacts focusing on rice, wheat, maize, high iron bean, sorghum, and millet, cassava, orange flesh sweet potato, livestock, small ruminants, and poultry, and fish. And the role of this compact is to promote improved agricultural technology through collaborative dissemination campaign so that they will increase production, and that will drive increase in employment and lead to better nutrition and food security. We also have this compact that have been organized around some menace like the fall armyworm. We have a compact also focusing on capacity development, on inclusion of youth in agribusiness, on water management, on input management, on policy. And these are supposed to provide direct backstopping to the value chain compacts. The targets of the TAT program are very ambitious. Here you see the number of farmers that these compacts are targeting to reach in the next 3 to 5 years. But also in terms of productivity increase, you have here the target. You know that the productivity of Africa are very, very small compared to the rest of the world. For instance, maize, at best, we have 2 tons per hectare when the average could be around 5 tons. Well, we are projecting that by 2025, the average for Africa actually should go all the way to 4, because you can find in Africa a region or places where the average is at 5 tons per hectare. And I know that this target can actually be exceeded. TAT has been deployed so far in 31 countries, and you can see here the footprint. You have in this table on the left axis the countries where TAT is operational, and the right the compact. So it is really a huge undertaking. If you put this on a map, this is what it looks like. The green countries are where the TAT is operational. The light green country, Mauritania, Gambia, and Guinea-Bissau, are not in the program yet, but there are negotiations ongoing, and they have approached the African Development Bank to take loan to be able to participate in this effort. And what I would like to say here is that TAT actually has 2 components. One is the activity I just described that are led, coordinated by the CG Center and specialized institutions. We call those centrally managed operations, but they are supposed to link up to the country programs which are better funded and can enable going to large scale and reaching the large number that I just talked about. So what the African Development Bank has been doing is to working with the regional member country to start mobilizing resources for them to be able to take all the efforts that are being coming from the TAT program to take them to large scale through a loan program. But what I would like to emphasize this morning is that the African Development Bank is trying to leverage other institutions and find ways of increasing the investments that are going into agriculture. And my plea this morning would be to ask all the institutions that are investing heavily into African agriculture to find some platform for coordination and harmonization in order to increase the synergy and the impact that can be generated by all the activities that are ongoing. And also I would like to emphasize that the private sector has a central role in the TAT initiative, because we believe that once the private sector becomes heavily engaged, then you can be assured that the private sector will drive this adoption and dissemination of technology, and this is going to be sustainable in the long run. So it is very important to engage the private sector that will promote and strengthen the seed system, the provision of inputs, the offtake of farm produce, as well as improving access to mechanization services. Now, what we do at the level of the clearinghouse, because we have the responsibility of approving technology being delivered, but also monitoring implementation. We analyze what is being done, the technology that are being deployed, and we are trying to constitute some toolkits indicating the technology and the factor enabling the adoption of this technology in particular country, in a specific agroecological zone, in order to describe them as toolkits that can fit in area with similar agroecological conditions and socio-economic conditions. And this information can then be used to trigger implementation in other regions. But what we do also is to identify partners in the country where, when we can analyze a value chain from the provision of input to the management of production to the post-harvest handling, processing, and so on, we can identify where opportunities are for investment by the local private sector and promote these as investment opportunity to create more business opportunity in the agricultural sector. You can imagine that this will generate a lot of information that needs to be disseminated as widely as possible. And we are thinking at the level of the clearinghouse to establish an information portal where all this information will be collected, assembled, analyzed, and reproduced, and for wide dissemination. This is still work in progress. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because we are still thinking about it. I'm inviting your input and advice on how we can do this better. But this portal will help, once technology are profiled, the toolkits are available, the investment opportunity are there, we can put them out and disseminate it. There will be a number of components. First of all this information has to be presented in a way that the stakeholder can absorb it and make use of it. There are a number of modules that will be there. One, we need to look at there are so many tools that are existing, but which are the ones that will be actually utilized to manage this volume of information. A number of countries are doing registration, e-registration of their farmers. This information will also be incorporated to know where the farmers are, what are the conditions, what are their needs, and so on. The technology toolkits that I've talked about will be described, and also the information will be coordinated. The agroecological characterization, there is a lot of information available that will need to be brought and made available. With this information, we'll be able to know where exactly the toolkit could be applicable, and this information will be made available. There will be a module to look at the partnership that can be established in a given location, and all of that put in the database, and one can try and match the partnership that are established, the toolkits that are available, so that that can be uptaken and disseminated. And all of these will be part of this network of institutions that we call the regional technology delivery infrastructure to have access to the information they need in order to be able to make good investment decision and good business decision for developing the particular business. And monitoring evaluation also generates a lot of data, which will be another module giving information that will be in this database. And all of that nowadays can be produced and organized into a mobile application that can be resident on your phone. And the smartphone can also be used for collecting information from the field and feeding directly in real time into the database. But the most important thing, in my opinion, is to be able to create the partnership between all these initiatives that are working towards transforming African agriculture. The African Union Council is putting together a number of frameworks for analysis to understand the environment, to link policy to agricultural development. I would like to single out this Africa Agriculture Transformation Scorecard. And some of the people, I think IFPRI had played a role in providing the technical backup to producing this. And the first scorecard came out in 2018. It'd be good that all the effort that we are doing to transform agriculture can be captured and also incorporated in this scorecard. But the African commodity strategy is very important. As we develop our agriculture, develop this commodity, we have to think ahead on how this development is going to impact economic development in this country. The Continental Free Trade Area, if that would become a reality, it will open lots of doors for trade of agricultural commodity, because as we increase production, we have to think about how this increased production is going to be exchanged. And we focus in following comparative advantage, country producing or region producing what they are best producing at. The next thing is how to move this product around to ensure that the markets, African markets, are being served. The World Bank has a major initiative in transforming agriculture, the West Africa Agricultural Transformation Programs. I think there are World Bank colleagues who are here who maybe would like to make a statement on how they see these initiatives coming together and linking up to create the needed synergy. AGRA, of course, I should have started with AGRA because we are here on a platform, a very successful platform that is, in my opinion, competing in the World Economic Forum for African agriculture. It has a number of programs also towards agricultural transformation in Africa, the ASDP2, the TAT Program, and so on, and I hope the colleague from AGRA could say something about how to establish this partnership. IFAD also has programs, the Country Strategy Opportunity Program, it has loans and grant mechanisms, the adaptation for smallholder agriculture program, and others. I think these are also programs that are going towards transforming agriculture. There's need, I believe, to establish a strong partnership between this program to be able to transform African agriculture. I just wanted to appeal to the many institutions that you represent here that are actively engaged in transforming African agriculture. I think that, and I'm talking to you from the operational level. I know there are a lot of discussion at the strategic level between the different institutions, but I'm also talking from the point of government, because I've had contact with Minister of Agriculture, and I'm happy that the Minister of Agriculture of Togo is present, Colonel Uro Agadazi, and here, please. And the Minister of Agriculture from Malawi also has joined us in this breakfast meeting. And maybe they can tell us the challenges of dealing with initiatives supported by different organizations, and how especially, I know there are coordination group at the donor level, at the ministry level, but at the operational level, when we select the sites where intervention should occur, I think it would be good to try to find the synergy so that it can have more impact than by working on a single, by working separately. I will end by saying it is a cliche that is often used, but I think it's true. United we stand, divided we fall. And my appeal is that we really need to come together and to find ways of achieving impact that is greater than the impact that we can achieve if we work separately. Thank you very much for your attention.